Hello, it's the monthly, yep, monthly thing with tapes. Here we go. It's been a month, been a little over a month. I got these new Beatles tapes. They are from Japan. I've shown this sort of thing before. This one's called Singing the Blues. If you look up the bootleg of this, you'll find something that'll be like kind of more colorful and a vinyl version, but this is what if it'll focus on it, is what the album would actually look like. It's just, I think this one's a bunch of blues songs. Return to Abbey Road, which has, I think it's just like early works or early in the process sort of things from Abbey Road. It's not really a return so much. Oh, unless they were live. They could have been live. I can't remember actually. Maybe they were like live things by the Beatles that were done afterwards. Anyway, this one was interesting. BBC original tape. It's the Cine Club. This is the what is it, Cinnamon or something? A series of tapes from Japan. Nobody really knows about them, but I've got to hook up, and like they let me know every once in a while, and they'll sell me a few things, and it's a lot of fun. These are in really good shape. I think I got at least half of them now. This is the John Carpenter's Lost Themes. I get the kind of sense that maybe John Carpenter himself isn't really quite as involved in this anymore, and it's just these two guys passing off their, pseudo new age albums, their John Carpenter inspired albums, to kind of collect a paycheck on that. Because if you look at who wrote this stuff, it's mostly these guys, like his son and this other dude. I mean, I'm sure John Carpenter listens to it and says, "Yeah, good job, guys," and then he puts his name on it, so he gets something out of it. This is, I guess this summer's over now, but I got a good deal on this Brat. I didn't really know much about this, and then I think the DNC. I kind of became curious, so I googled this, whether in Wisconsin here, and then what they were thinking of the Brat summer, and so somebody asked our governor, "How's your Brat summer going?" And he said, I have lots of Brats." And it was kind of it was obvious he didn't know what she was talking about. And, he's like, "In Wisconsin, we get lots of Brats here." Yeah. It was an okay record. Sure. I guess it's over, so I should throw this away. But it's going for at least 30, and I got mine for, I think, 17. Maybe I got mine for cheap because it's over. Anyway, the day I bought it was over, so it was perfect timing. I wouldn't have really wanted it before it was uncool to have it. So, speaking of uncool to have, this is the Dirty 3. Love changes everything. It's the reuniting. I actually saw these guys on the terrace of the UW, and it was kind of great back in 03, but they never really put out tapes except maybe their demo. This one was, I don't think I listened to it carefully enough, or quietly. No, I did. Even if I wasn't paying the greatest attention, I was still listening. DJ Shadow QBert remix just kind of came up. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the liner. Bummer. Gang. Okay, here's some Bollywood. I've been getting more into Bollywood right now. Really, it's mostly Anna Malik here, but I think somebody writes one of the songs. So, I don't know if I've explained this, but I haven't probably listened to much Bollywood, because I've been more into everything else, but I got about 400 modern Bollywood and about 400 older Bollywood things I still have to listen to, as well as some other things. And that is, around 97, around the time, when is this one? 2000, okay. A lot of them are late 90s and early 2000s. Around 97, and I've got a few that are from 97, they added 10 dB to the bass and kind of did some much more modern sounding things, and it kind of became it sounds really modern even now. I don't know if modern is a great word anymore. To Bring You My Love by PJ Harvey, the demo version, promo version, that is. Down by the River, the promo version. I don't know if I've got anything much to say about that. I didn't know much about Bruce Cockburn, but I knew about House of Large Sizes for sure, because I'm from Iowa. It was one of the first bands I ever saw. And I'm not saying they're great, but they're kind of an awesome band to have from Iowa. I know I've talked about him before on this channel. As far as the Bruce Cockburn, he's just sounded kind of like Lou Reed, I guess. He seemed okay, I guess. I don't know. I guess if you're into... I think he might have been in some band or something. I don't really know much about him. And here's King Crimson. By the way, I know he's not actually called Bruce Cockburn. He's called Cockburn, I think. And this is Starless and Bible Black by the mighty King Crimson here. Not my... It's a really interesting one. It's not the song, like it's the album Starless and Bible Black, but there's a song with the lyrics Starless and Bible Black. I think that's Islands, maybe, or I don't know. But this is quite a very good shape. Found a, like, traded with some, or bought it from somebody on Facebook. Yeah, it's quite good. I don't know, 74, but it's not that catchy. But you have to like listen to it more carefully. But if you're into prog, it's like, you know, Dr. Venture teaching Dean about prog, then you might like it. Comfort Food is just, the reason I have this is because of that guy, Juicy, the emissary, because of the Kmart tapes. He remixed a bunch of the Kmart tapes. I want to find a way to get those Kmart tapes someday. Like all of them. And I'll just listen to all of them. I'll listen to hundreds of hours of Kmart tapes, and I'll just have a whole bunch of them. Because that guy, he probably doesn't have a tape deck, and those tapes have probably served their purpose at this point, so maybe they should go to my collection. Leaving Trains of Big Jinx, it's a SST promo. Yeah. John Lennon Telecasts is John Lennon on, you know, yeah, like songs like this one. You got to be kidding me. Like, I don't know. How do you have a song that you can't even say the name of anymore? I don't know. It's crazy. I guess John Lennon could, but those are the 70s, you know. Like back then it was like, oh man, he's really deep, and now it'd be like, he'd be I don't know, hung for that probably. You know what I mean? He'd be in a lot of trouble for that one. He'd get canceled. John Lennon getting canceled, imagine that. Something Precious and Rare is John Lennon outtake stuff. Yeah, it's good. I mean, he's a musical genius, you know, I'm not saying. And it is kind of interesting that back then you could, I guess if you meant it the right way, it was okay back then. Like, pretty wild, huh? I had something else to say, like, well, yeah, you can't sing along to that song. You're like, woman is the N-word of the world. You can't sing along. It doesn't work. Anyway, Letters to Cleo's new reunion album, Back in Nebraska. I don't know if they're from Nebraska. I noticed that much like their original Letters to Cleo album, this is also taking a picture of their legs. You know, I think the original also had that. I just know them because, oh shoot, I'm going to have to, this is going to be part one here. Anyway, like, I just know them because in, like, the time or whatever, they had that song, Humanama, 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 here and now. And I was sitting there with somebody who I was, I guess, interested in, I guess. And, like, I told her that band is awesome. And it, like, really... I mean, immediately after I said it, I thought, like, no, I don't think that. What do I mean? And she's like, you should buy their album. And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, I don't mean that, but I didn't say that I didn't mean it. I just was like, I think I was living in Cambridge at the time, and they're from Boston, and so somehow I didn't own a TV, but like I was in a place where they had TV, and this came on, and it was an ad for this, and all it was them singing really fast, but it's okay. It's not a bad album. It's just, you know, there's a Meat Puppets album where they do that too. I can't imitate that singing that best. What's the last one we're going to do for this stack is, there we are up to Anna Malik here. This is an more aforementioned 97 one. Okay, part 2 is coming up here. Okay, where we left off was Anna Malik. Continuing on with Anna Malik, we have Border, Issue. I don't know what that is. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. Anna Malik is one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I think he's probably the most melodic of them, the best melody writer in Bollywood, at least that I know. I I've got a lot of his stuff, and I don't know. Like, I guess he's accused of like ripping off things. I actually heard, what is that George Michael song with the saxophone, "Endless Love" or something? The one that the guy plays in the mall and he goes around playing it in the food court and everything. I did hear that melody in one of these Bollywood soundtracks. I already had a lot of Bollywood soundtracks, both in my old collection from, up until they went into storage, and in the last 5 years, I also had some Bollywood that I featured under M's. But this is how many I've gotten to right now this month, just because I've got doubles of these, and I can put these up for trade after that. The doubles of them, anyway. And so I've been doing a lot. I don't know. Like, the earliest stuff in this part of it is the late 90s, like 97. But I really like getting up to like 2002 and things. I have one here to show that is from... Okay, first of all, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Wait a minute. It's this one, actually, isn't it? No, that's 2000. I love that they're all from the late 90s, like 2000. India had not quite moved on to CDs. Some people were still having tapes up until the mid-2000s. Eggs Up is a Paul McCartney thing. It's Wings. It's Wings, like one of their worst albums. Super boring. Yeah, it's too bad. I feel sorry for... I'm glad Paul left Wings and stopped doing whatever the hell he was doing with Wings. I know he was having a good time, but nobody else was. And then he came out with some really good stuff after the 70s. I know some people like his stuff. Maybe I'm Amazed is a really good song, sure. But, yeah. But I imagine at the time it would have been like, what the hell, Paul? Why is this so boring? This isn't like the Beatles. This is, it's another Bollywood thing. What year? 2004. See, now, I haven't really seen too much beyond 2008. I've never seen a 2009 Bollywood thing on tape. By that point, you're almost getting into the tape revival period. This is the guy who wrote Steven Seagal film. He also wrote Conan the Barbarian. I guess this guy, Basil, he must really like Manly Man films. Posies, this is repeated 3 times. This is a nice song. I will totally collect things like this. It was real cheap, so I will totally get something like this. I think it was $3. I love stuff like that. Sapane is just the one I just listened to. It has totally gorgeous orchestration on the last song. What is that called? You can look it up and listen to it if you want. It's called... Yeah, it's funny how you can it's Chanda Ray, I think. And they sing Chanda Ray throughout it. But the orchestra, I don't even know what it is. Strings, hammered dulcimer maybe. Just stuff that they think of to do in their culture that we would not really even consider. But it's really, really beautiful. Yeah. So, I mean, just like look up random stuff like that and you'll have a nice time listening to things that you might not have ever thought of, Of course, why I like them is because, well, one time I stumbled on a whole bunch of Bollywood tapes. This is 2001. And on the side of it, it'll tell you how many rupees it costs. And I figured out, I think at one point, that a rupee is basically equivalent to a penny. So we're talking, like, it says, 45 rupees or something. So, 45 cents for one of these albums. Some of them were, 25 cents. Some, later years, they got up to 75 cents. And sometimes it's over $1 for one of these tapes. And that's how much they pretty much were on eBay. If I got a giant lot of them for $100, they cost maybe $100. Or less, actually, 50 sometimes. Sonic Boom Spectrum is the guy from Spaceman 3. It was one that I meant to listen to, but I didn't quite get to it. That just takes us up to everything for this week. All right. Yeah. I don't know if there's much else to talk about. The movie is going along, but my perfectionist streak is taking over now, and so it takes me so long just even set up the lines to edit. If I have 20 takes, I will spend, I don't know, it takes me at least a minute or two just to set up each take, so it takes at least, and then I'm distracted by things all the time, so I'll go on the internet and do things and screw around, so I'm so far behind on things. I don't know what to do about it. But which makes me a little sad because I've really got to get back on track here with the editing. The next movie will be easier because it has technically less lines, even if those lines are um, probably have just more words. But if the words are connected, then it's not going to be a big deal because I want to cut out all these little lines, for doing that. Anyway, I don't know if that interests you or not, and yeah, those are my two main things. I'm also posting music that I arranged by ear for the drum corps like 10 years ago because we're coming up on the 60th anniversary of the drum corps. So I found those files on my computer and kind of like started to just, what I used was a program called MuseScore. I listened to the old arrangements and I'm not arranging really much of anything except for the transitions, or if I feel like there's something that just is too hard to play or just doesn't really work. I'm trying to keep things basically the same back then when I was doing it, that is. And now, uh, I don't know. I'm trying to gauge whether people would want to do another reunion because that would be fun, but I don't know that we're getting quite the interest as before. One of the main people that put on the reunion has not really been responding, and I would guess that, even though some people certainly want to do it, the local show in Cedar Rapids, as I understand it, is making a little less money. So it's a question: do you want to hope that if we put on the reunion that this will draw in more people and more excitement and bring more people to the show, or do you want to maybe just have one last nice little show? Because they get good drum corps, but they don't get the great drum corps. They get really good drum corps. Anyway, I'm really going off on a tangent here. By the way, I'm getting some DC Drum Corps International cassettes tomorrow that somebody's giving me, years 82 and 83. And I'm excited about that because it's the top 24, both of those. I doubt this interests much of anybody. But nobody listens to these things anyway. Like if I was to, you would if I died, and then you would listen to this stuff and be like, because you could know who I am. There's no other way to know. Like I don't talk to anybody. I don't see anybody. This idea that like, oh, do I really want to go here? I don't know. I'm not really convinced that when people say that you shouldn't, they're just thinking of themselves. They don't want to have to deal with like the aftermath of things like that. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. So cool. All right, I will be next thing is the more drum corps arrangements. I arranged all of the drum corps pieces into a single song covering like every year, every one little melody or something from every year that I had a recording from of both the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And that was my next big thing, to make that into a 6-minute piece and make that all fit together tempo wise and key wise. Tempo wise was really hard. Key wise was also really hard. But I made it work, even though it sounds really goofy. And if I was to like really want us to have another reunion, I think maybe what we could do is small group reunion just to play at the bar or something, or the fire station or something, and play like much longer pieces of music and have it be just like more comprehensive, like like a bar band or something. Anyway, and I think I would probably tweak the arrangements a little bit because, like for example, I arranged I Could Write a Book and New York, New York. That's the 91 show. I Could Write a Book, and then 83 show, 82 show, I think. New York, New York. I think both years, and I mixed them together, so it was the kind of more the verse of I Could Write a Book and then the chorus of New York, New York. But I also couldn't resist like throwing the melodies on top of each other, and it just sounds goofy. It actually works, but I think if they want to do that in a small group, I'll take those melodies back out to make them separate, so that they have a distinguishing quality. Um, at this point, I should end this video. Then after the drum corps postings, I will also post the next scene of my movie. I already got scene 6 done. I was happy about it. And then now it's going to be scene 7. I got to get that out real quick. And then I got to do scene 8 real quick so I can catch back up here. And I'm supposed to be re-recording people and nobody's responding. Like, the only guy who responded was somebody who I kind of knew would respond, and there are a few people that responded. But all the people that I did all this auditing to try to hope that somehow I could get a hold of them, and of course they're all ghosting me now that like nobody's responding anymore, and I might just be stuck with the lines that I recorded, which are not perfect, and then spend hours and hours trying to fix those lines, and it's very hard to do that. Okay, so I'm sure you've loved looking at all this, and so I'm gonna go. Enough. Okay, bye.